Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon to all the geeks out there and out of the geeks, and welcome to a very special podcast today. Yes, as you guys know, this week we are going to be holding a fundraiser for not one, but two different charities. So we have one of the charities on with us at the moment. We're speaking to Angel. I forget, I'm terrible with names. You know that, please?
This is Xanny from Get Well Gamers.
See, I was going to call you Zara.
Close.
Xanny from Get Well Gamers, yes. Welcome. So, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
So I am the streaming community manager with Get Well Gamers. And what that means is I'm in charge of all the online fundraising side of things. So I help other people organise charity streams to raise money for the charity. And I also organise our own events from the Get Well Gamers Twitch channel. We usually have an event at Christmas, and then we sort of have community gaming nights throughout the year as well, just to try and get the community involved and raise awareness of the charity. So yeah, that's my main role within the charity, and I also am in charge of sending out all the merch and thank you letters and things as well. So
Okay.
it's a really nice little touch as well. I like to write personalized thank you letters and things like that. So it's really nice.
And when you're not part of Get Well Gamers, what do you play games? Do you do anything else?
Yes, I love to play video games, and I am also a crafter. So I love to make gaming related cross stitches. So
Nice.
when most people think cross stitch, they think sort of flowers or sort of old fashioned type patterns. I like to cross stitch things that are much more modern and sort of I feel are maybe funny or like a meme or something like that. I will turn it into a cross stitch.
It's actually pretty cool because I was on Etsy the other day and I saw a model of the SR2 from Mass Effect on a cross stitch.
Oh yeah.
So I get what you mean, where it's not just flowers and old people things. There are actually gaming related things out there.
It's really fun to have like a bit of a clash of cultural things and sort of mix it up a little bit and take people by surprise, because they're always a little bit like, that's not the kind of cross stitch I know. But yeah, my favorite is to do gaming related characters or people's logos as well. I like to make those into cross stitches, so I like a challenge. Let's put it that way. So yeah, crafting cool. And baking, and my username is the Stitchy Baker, so that's where that comes from.
makes perfect sense now.
Yeah.
It makes more sense than it did before.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually.
Yeah.
I thought you just had people in stitches. I thought it was like making people.
No, it's very literal. There's no sort of creative meaning behind the username. It's just
That makes sense. It's pretty much the same as us. I mean, ours is pretty literal as well. I mean, we're VSA geeks. You can kind of decipher why.
Well, recently it did kind of change.
It was a joke, though.
It was a joke, but it's so that we don't have to rebrand or anything. So now we're the Scottish African Geeks instead of the South African Geeks.
Yeah, kind of makes sense, but still, we're the South African geeks. We'll always be the SA geeks for that reason. But that's a story for another day. It's more about the charity itself. So, you and the charity itself. So, a little bit more about Get Well Gamers. I know that you guys basically get a whole bunch of like, gear together for kids that are in hospitals and things like that. But can you elaborate a bit more and tell us a little bit more about exactly what Get Well Gamers does?
Yeah, absolutely. So Get Well Gamers was originally founded in this country, I think about 8 years ago. And the premise being they wanted to get gaming into hospitals.
Yeah, sorry about that. One of our friends just jumped in on the chat.
Who was it?
No worries.
It was Chicken, but it's because we're not in our stream. We're not in our chat, so he didn't know.
Okay.
It's called the lounge, so obviously people would be jumping
fair
in and
enough.
out, but that's why I started laughing, because he came in and the whole screen just went all the way haywire. So sorry about that. We're just gonna quickly send him a message and say
This is also something that's going to happen quite often, where there'll be, as you can see, there's one over there and there's one here, so they'll make a regular
Yeah,
appearance on our videos.
That was actually what our previous charity was actually the Scottish SPCA. So,
But you can continue with what you were saying.
Sorry, carry on. Absolutely, I'm so sorry about that.
No, it's fine.
You're welcome to carry on. Sorry about that.
We request that people consider us when they are upgrading their gaming console. So when they move to the new generation of consoles, we sort of ask people to consider sending us their old consoles, rather than just, either recycling or, I mean, it is a form of recycling, I suppose, but it goes to a really good cause. So our job is to take people's unwanted consoles and games, and if they are usable, we can redistribute them to hospitals and hospices and any healthcare facilities in the UK that serves children. We really only help people who are under 18. And if the equipment is no good, we can trade it in, and the money can go back into the charity and fund it maybe even buy brand new consoles. We do that as well. One of the most requested consoles that we get from hospitals is the Nintendo Switch. So we have bought a lot of Nintendo Switches in the past 2 years or so. The Switch Lites especially are amazing for hospitals. They're so portable, lightweight. The Joy-Cons can't go missing, as sadly sometimes they do. But yeah, they're absolutely ideal. So a lot of the time we do put any money that is raised through fundraising events or through the sale of older consoles, we put into buying new ones. So yeah, that's our mission, is to get gaming into hospitals. It's been proven that it's an amazing distraction for children when they're in a hospital. We've had a story that was quite heartbreaking, really, but it's really highlights the importance of it. There was a child having a procedure done, and they were actually using their Nintendo Switch whilst they were having it done, because it was such an amazing distraction, and it kept them still and it kept them focused, and it meant that they weren't thinking about what was happening to them at the time. And just hearing stuff like that is just like, that's why we're doing it.
Yeah, so. That makes sense. No, that makes perfect sense. As we say, it's great to actually see that these are the kinds of charities that we're supporting, and also we like to actually get them on board to chat. I would have loved to have had the SPCA on as well, but unfortunately they couldn't come on this on and sit with us like you guys are, which is awesome to actually, because we like to get people knowing the charities that they're going to be supporting, so that they know who the people
faces
are
behind the names, basically.
And why these particular charities were chosen. This one was particularly chosen by, I believe, Kez. Someone mentioned it to her, and she was like, I want to do that. That's me right there. I'm doing that one. And then obviously we're going to talk about the other charity, which is CHOC. It's a cancer foundation in South Africa that is very close to to all of us, actually, even myself and Kez, because it's all about kids with cancer, and they're trying to actually they're basically putting money towards research and stuff like that in South Africa to try and get that going. So we're doing two sides of basically one coin, where it's all about children. It's just one is gaming and trying to get them comfortable in that surrounding, and the other one is obviously research. So they sort of go hand in hand, which is quite nice to. It's quite nice to know that.
Absolutely.
So yeah. With the kids themselves, I mean, you say that obviously the Switch is the most popular thing. Are there any other consoles that the kids are jumping on and playing as well that they're there, or is it like VRs and things like that they might use?
Yeah, I mean, there are a few PlayStation VRs in hospitals now. We've donated a couple ourselves as a charity. They don't get donated very often because most people don't really get rid of their VRs once they've got it. It's not something that, and I know the VR 2 is coming out, and we might see an increase in old VRs, but we don't know yet. But yeah, it's handhelds are probably the most requested by the hospitals. So that's not just Switches, that's DSs, things like that. Anything that's portable and easy for the hospital to store, because that's also an issue. They've got to have somewhere to put the gaming console. A lot of places do have playrooms, so they have a room specifically for play. They usually have a play specialist, so that's somebody who contacts Get Well Gamers and actually deals with all that side of things. Unfortunately, one of the side effects of COVID was that a lot of those rooms became rooms used for other things because they needed the space. So that's one thing that we've kind of seen.
It was just a well-timed cough.
One of the things we've seen is that the sort of lack of space in hospitals, and they don't have space to put all these consoles, and some of them haven't been able to be used in the last year and a half or 2 years or whatever, but hopefully getting back to that now, and hopefully going to see these playrooms being used for what they're supposed to be used for. But one of the other things that's fantastic that we are trying to get into as many hospitals as possible are the gaming carts. So the cart is an all-in-one portable device that has a monitor, and it has an Xbox One or PS4 in a storage box sort of underneath it, but it's all built in, it's all one unit. They are specially built for hospitals, and they have controllers that are attached so no one can take them away, it's all very secure, and they are portable, so they're on wheels, and they can be wheeled to children in bed if they can't get out of bed. So these carts are fantastic, and Get Well Gamers, we have our own cart now. Really pleased with that. That's something that only happened in 2020, I believe. We teamed up with a company who make them, so people come to us and request them, and then we have them made through the company we partner with, and there's quite a few of those in the UK now, so it's something that we're really keen to get more of, because they're just invaluable bits of kit, and they're so so useful in that environment. So
I was actually going to ask you about that, because I know that in South Africa, for different reasons, we have those same kinds of carts. It's generally at the festivals where they actually wheel a whole bunch of consoles in, and then they'll plug a game in for demo testing and stuff like that, and everything's secured and locked down and things like that.
Absolutely.
So I was going to actually say, is there a way that you guys could possibly get something like that for the team, so that it's or at least for the hospital, so that it's no longer a storage issue where they can actually they just can't find space. They can actually just close everything up, lock it up, put it into a section, and then there you go, it's done, safe. But I see that you're doing it, so there's no need to mention it.
It's just a matter of cost, unfortunately, as they are very expensive to make. And we have done fundraising events specifically to raise money for one cart, and it's quite a big thing just for one. But it's just, I think it's just a matter of time, and I think more hospitals are buying them themselves, so it's not just necessarily us having to fundraise and put them in hospitals. They can, as long as they have the funding. That's another issue entirely, but we've definitely seen we've definitely seen an increase in people coming to us for those carts, so it's looking very promising.
No, that's good. It's good. It's that's also something that's nice to see, is that there's new innovations that you guys are actually pushing out to see if you can get this going and that going and this going, and it's nice to see. So anything in particular that the kids like to play? Any particular game that they like to actually jump on and
Stop
play
stealing my questions.
I'm sorry. I didn't know that was a question.
I think the most talked about that I've heard anyway is Fortnite. And of course. I have children myself, and my 11-year-old is absolutely obsessed with Fortnite, so that doesn't surprise me one bit. But that's unfortunately though, a lot of hospitals struggle with internet connection, so really they need actual physical games that they don't need the internet for. Some are fortunate enough to have a decent internet. I think that's definitely improving, but some still struggle with that. So I think a lot of the Mario games as well are very popular. Mario Kart is always a sort of a staple. But those sort of games, I can't think of any others off the top of my head, but that's the one that I remember a play specialist specifically saying all the kids love Fortnite.
But against the internet, that's the whole problem. You'd think with the cell phone networks rolling out these high speed fiber that they'd be able to connect it to hospitals too.
I know.
That would make logical sense. But I mean, what do I know?
I like to think we're getting there. It's
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's also. I mean, being a network specialist myself, I would have thought that would have been something that would have been priority for most hospitals, because it's not difficult to actually get that kind of a line in. The only thing is splitting up the connections between all of the different like rooms and things like that, which could be an issue. That could actually be a slight issue, but it's nothing that isn't easily solved by just setting up a different network. But that's a different story. That's me going on that's my brain going into like trying to calculate how to actually set up a decent network for a hospital. It's got nothing to do with this. But yeah, I think it's time for Kez to ask a question, because I keep taking all of her questions.
And now you put me on the spot.
Sorry.
I don't know if you mentioned it. If you did, I'm really sorry. But how did the idea for Get Well Gamers come up? Because obviously there must have been an idea or a thought to create the charity and the purpose behind it. So how did that come about? If you haven't answered it, I'm sorry.
No, I haven't answered that one. So really it's all thanks to one person. Our founder James, was his sort of mission. I think he saw Get Well Gamers. There was a US branch originally. They were founded in 2001. They later merged with Able Gamers, which is a huge organization in the US. So Get Well Gamers no longer exists in the US under that name, but there is a Canadian branch of Get Well Gamers that is still going strong. And yeah, he saw what they were doing and he wanted to replicate that in the UK. So he's based in Glasgow, which is why we have a Glasgow connection, and it's why the storage vault, as it's called the vault. That's where all the consoles are. That's the magical place. That's why that's in Glasgow, and that's why it's sort of considered our HQ, even though we're all over the country. People have come and gone. James is still involved in the charity, although he did kind of take a step back because he had a lot of other things going on in his own work life and personal life. But yeah, that was his real mission, I guess, and his vision. So, and it came to life. And yeah, I've only been part of the charity for this. It's coming up 3 years, and it's existed as Get Well Gamers UK for 8. So.
Sorry, my cat was falling off my lap there. She decided that she's going to join me for a sit-in today. Anything else? I'm sure you got like lots of questions you want to ask.
I do, but my brain is running at a mile a minute, so I don't really know.
Yeah.
As soon as the questions do come up, I will jump in. But one thing I will ask is, with your stitching, your cross stitching, what is the craziest thing that you've made?
Craziest thing. I don't know what the craziest thing is. I mean, I've done some quite funny cross stitches, but I can't think of anything that was really crazy.
It could be big, like crazy. It could be really that it was really big or really weird, or just anything along those lines.
So I did cross stitch. One of my friends who I met through Twitch streaming asked me to cross stitch a photograph of his girlfriend's dog as a surprise for her, and I totally underestimated just how long it would take me to cross stitch that and make it look realistic, because I had to sort of blow up the picture quite a lot to make quite a big pattern, and I think I must have spent about 5 or 6 months in total working on this piece, and it was just ridiculous. And it got to the point where I was just like absolutely sick of seeing sort of like, it's just so many shades of like a really similar colour. And I just losing my mind by the end of it. The end result, however, does look pretty good, and I was really chuffed with it, but it just, yeah, that was a really difficult one. I tend to stick to smaller pieces just because I'm really impatient. That's the real reason. I like to see the result like now. I want to see it. You know, I get an idea in my head, I'm going to stitch it, I need to be done in a couple of days. But this was just the most mammoth kind of ridiculous. But yeah, it worked out in the end, and she loved it. So it's on her wall, and it's her pride and joy. So
yeah. No, that's awesome. That is, I mean, I know it's obviously been a bit rough for you for 5 months. Wow.
I would have given up, but that's just me.
Yeah.
I'm that impatient that I would go, right, that's it, I'm done.
Yeah, that's also why I get nervous with her doing Python programming, because she gets very impatient.
Well, I'm impatient, but once I get an idea in my head, I have to see it through. So,
Yeah.
you know.
That's me. I've generally got to see something through to the end. Otherwise, you know, that's also why I keep installing games, and like then I uninstall it for a while because I need space on my computer. Then I install it again and I carry on because I've got to get this game done. But yeah, no, that's understandable. So here's one of my things. One of your favorite games. Tell me what is one of your favorite games?
So one of my all-time favorite games is the first Spyro the Dragon game. I love the original trilogy, but the first game for me is just it's the ultimate nostalgia because it was one of the first games I ever played. I remember getting a PlayStation for Christmas when I was 8, and it was just the best thing ever. And all I did was play Spyro, and I feel like I know the levels inside out, back to front. But it's just something every now and again I just keep coming back to it. And then when they did the Reignited trilogy, I was just in nostalgia heaven, and yeah, I just loved it. So yeah, absolutely Spyro. I actually have a shelf above me that's just covered in different figures of Spyro the Dragon. It's my Spyro shelf. And also one of my favourite games, again because of the nostalgia, is Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic 3
yes,
specifically.
Sonic the Hedgehog, yes.
Yeah.
You're talking when I was 8 years old, from my first game that I played on Sega. Because I had a Sega Mega Drive. You didn't have a Sega Mega Drive?
No, I didn't.
It was a very long time ago. But the very first game, funny enough, that I actually played, talking about how old I am, was actually Rockman. Or, well, it's called Mega Man, but I call it Rockman because that was what it was originally called, and that was the version that we got in South Africa, was Rockman.
Oh, okay.
And the very first one I ever played was the very first game I ever played, and it was also the very first time I was subjected to how nightmarish games can actually be. That game is damn hard. But at the end of the day, you know, we all start somewhere, and then that also got me interested in doing things like Bloodborne and Dolmen and all those games. So
what was the very first
game
that you ever played?
Good question.
So the very, very first game was Sonic 2. So my brother had 2 Mega Drives. He had the American one, and he had the English one and a Japanese one. So I don't know how he ended up with the Japanese. I think my uncle managed to get him the Japanese one. So he had some games that were all in Japanese and some that were in English. That made it more interesting. So I think Altered Beast was in Japanese. Altered Beast is a great game. I have a lot of memories of that, and you know, I used to spend ages watching him play them because he's 6 years older than me, so he was so much better at games than I ever was at that age. I was only like 4. Yeah. So, you know, I would watch him play, and then I would try and play, and Sonic 2, yeah, that's probably the first game I ever played. So yeah, that's also got a, you know, real nostalgic feel, but I could never complete it without doing the sound cheat thing. So going to the screen where you could choose the levels, because there was no save in Sonic 2, so I would always die way before I got anywhere near the end. So that's why Sonic 3 is probably my favourite, because I could save it and I could actually play it.
Yeah, no, for me, when I played Sonic 1 for the very first time, that was also one of the few very first games I played, but I realized the tactic for Sonic is, especially for Sonic 1 and 2, and Sonic and Knuckles, funny enough, all 3 of those games, the tactic was to build up your lives, so collect as many rings as possible to build up your lives, so that you've got enough to be able to get to the end without dying against Robotnik's last boss, because the last Robotnik boss is always the hardest, and, well, not always. Funny enough, the last one for Sonic 2 is actually easier than the second last one, because the second last one was a hell of a lot more difficult than the last boss, which always confused me.
Yeah, I know. I'm currently sort of reliving it because I'm playing through Sonic Mania on PC. I've already completed it on PlayStation, but I'm playing it on PC now because I wanted to put myself through that again. And some of the bosses on that, I was like, how did I complete this the first time? Getting so frustrated at them. And then you get another boss that's like dead easy, and it's like, what? But yeah, I do love Sonic Mania. I think they did a fantastic job with that. So
yeah, I think so too. I agree.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So.
I've got questions as well, but unfortunately my brain runs a mile every 4 hours, so you'll have to excuse how slow I actually react to questions. I think Kez has got one now.
So the baking side of things, do you just bake cakes, or is it cupcakes, or what is your favorite thing to make?
So I make all kinds of cakes. I originally started baking like 10 years ago, I think it was, because I was always one of these people who was like, oh, I can't bake anything. I can't cook very well, and I just kind of wrote myself off as not being able to make a cake unless it was, you know, out of a box and you just needed to add an egg or whatever. And then my mum just said, like, she just made these cupcakes, and I was like, oh, okay, so how did you make those? And I just and I was, you know, actually they're quite easy, and everyone said they liked them, so I was like, well, this is a good start. So yeah, I started off making cupcakes, and then moved on to bigger cakes, and I'm not as confident with sort of like cake decorating, so the royal icing, it's kind of confuses the heck out of me how anyone can create these amazing looking cakes with, you know, figurines on them and just gorgeous detail. It's that's beyond me, I think. But I can make a cake that tastes good. That's what I pride myself on. I think that's the most important thing.
It is, yes, I agree. A cake that tastes good is all you want.
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to look fancy as long as it tastes good.
Yeah, that's my thing. That's my feeling. I put a lot of love into my baking, and my family claim that makes it taste better. So okay. But yeah, my favourite cake to make is a carrot cake. That's my favourite, and it's always a hit with everyone. So today for Father's Day, I've made a Victoria sponge because that's my dad's favourite.
Ah.
So
Nice.
he likes the simple vanilla sponge. It's always a winner. So
It's always a winner.
so yeah, I was just baking before I came onto this. So yeah.
Hey, me too.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Funny enough, Kez is also baking something. Actually, I think you still are, aren't you?
Yeah, I just need to. I said I'm busy baking a cake for Mr. over there's birthday tomorrow. I made him. I took the easy way out. I didn't really want to make it from scratch today, so I bought one of the box cakes where you just add eggs.
Yep.
But it's a carrot cake. But what I did is I bought Biscoff biscuits.
Oh,
I
nice.
crunched those in, and then we've got caramel flavoring as well, and I added that in. So it's a Biscoff caramel carrot cake.
Nice. Well, that sounds like a really nice combination. Biscoff's always lovely.
Yeah, that's going to
And
be
it's
great.
gonna have chocolate frosting and not the normal white one as well. So it's
Nice.
gonna be weird, but hey,
It's Kez. There's nothing normal about what she does, so, which is fine. I like that.
I'm not like my mom. My mom can bake really, really nice things, and she's the cake person. And it also just started with her making. So she started with what was it? Red velvet cupcakes.
Oh, yeah.
And people enjoyed those, and then she learned how to make other things. And I'm the type of person that I will always try and challenge someone's creativity. So I would say to her, I want this, and so like the one year I wanted a 3D Tom and Jerry cake, and well, not 3D, but it would not just be like a little picture. It had to be Tom's head, and she made that for us and things like that. I always like to push people and see how far they can go, because I do it to myself, and it helps you learn, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. I think my biggest baking challenge was one of my best friends actually asked me to make her wedding cake, and it was that was a challenge. I needed like 2 solid days of just planning and prepping and baking and assembling, and then the fridge had to be empty so that I could put the sponges in there overnight, and so it ended up being a 4-tier wedding cake, and it was chocolate, vanilla, red velvet, and lemon. So each layer was a different flavour. And yeah, it was really it went down really, really well. And she wanted a really plain so what they call a naked cake, so it didn't have any icing on the outside of it, it just had icing inside the sandwich, like between the sponges. And the whole thing was covered in fruit, and it looked gorgeous, actually. You know, and I'm that's one of the things I'm actually most proud of. in all of my like years of creating anything, that cake is one of my proudest moments.
Nice. That's always nice. Yeah.
It does sound like something to be proud of, definitely. The way you're explaining it, I can see it, and it sounds like it would have been amazing to see.
I thought I got some really nice pictures of it as well. The professional wedding photographer took some really good shots of it, and I was really chuffed with those ones.
Nice.
I did that.
Nice.
Do you play any board games at all?
Not really. I'm not. I mean, I do enjoy board games from time to time. It's just not something I've done for a while. We tend to play maybe something as at Christmas, maybe with the family. We might play a game together. But it's not something that I do on a regular basis. It's one of those things that I wish I could sort of get into, but I struggle with having enough time to do all the things that I already do. It's like with playing.
Problem.
Yeah, I know. But with video games as well, I wish I could, dedicate more time to gaming and getting into more games, because there's so many that I'm like, oh, I need to play that. Oh, I need to play that, and then it's busy. I have 4 children, so the house is full, and there's always something that needs doing. So no board games, sadly, but. You never know. Maybe when I get a bit more free time, I'll get into something.
No, that makes sense. I mean, it can't be easy having to. You got 4 kids, so juggling that and board games there. Yeah, unless you're playing the board games with them, it's not really necessary.
Yeah,
I get it. I do.
I think the closest we get is playing Uno together, which is lovely, but
Yeah. No, it is definitely. Was that her?
No, it's Crumbs. He's behind the curtain.
Oh. No, one of our cats just meowed, and it didn't sound like a meow, it sounded like a bird. But
He's
then
behind
again, we
the
had a magpie
curtain.
fly into our window today, so that was kind of funny. For those South Africans who don't know what a magpie is, the black and white bird, they're very clever, except when they fly into your window. But generally, they're very clever, and they're all over the UK, so you'll see them everywhere. It's sort of like jackdaws; you see them everywhere. So two animals that we had to get used to when we came here were jackdaws and magpies. Oh, that and crows. There are a lot more crows here than there ever were in South Africa, actually.
Oh right, okay.
Because I mean, we obviously have crows, but ours are like black and white. So they're not fully black like the crows here. We've got like black and white crows, and they make the same sound. It's just they're kind of bigger and black and white.
Cool.
Because everything in South Africa has to be like exaggerated and much bigger. The spiders are included.
Oh no.
We have big spiders in South Africa. Yeah, they're not so big. They're not scary. It's like she's freaking out over a daddy long legs in the corner over there.
I'm scared of spiders.
But I mean, it's a daddy long legs. It's like that's big, man. It's a tiny spider. In comparison with the big things that are the size of my hand in South Africa.
Oh no. Making me itch now.
But yeah,
so things that will not make you itch.
crawl.
What is there any new games that you've been playing currently, or have you just been going down the nostalgia road?
So I've just been going down the nostalgic route recently, but there are definitely. I really want to play the Quarry. My husband's just played through that, and I watched his playthrough, and I was like, I want to play this. I really like those kind of story-based games, so, where you can decide your fate, and it can all end totally differently. And I don't feel like I've spoiled it by watching him play it, simply because I would choose different things.
Yeah.
So I've watched a couple of streamers play it, and my husband does stream, so I watched him on stream. So that was cool. But yeah, I think I'd choose some things differently to how he chose it. So that's on my list of things I'd like to play. But yeah, as I said before, it's just making that time. And I know I can definitely make time for it, but sometimes I just want to just read a book in the evening, or just listen to music and watch YouTube videos. And yeah, so it's
there's nothing wrong with that at all.
That's
no.
She loves the watching like
It's
TV shows or
nice
YouTube and
to
stuff
just
like that.
take a break.
Which is I mean I let her do it because I do my own thing as well. We don't because we work together.
We live together. We do content creation
together. So we don't mind having a few hours apart. So when she goes and watches something in the lounge, it's cool, because then it gives me time to sit down and just play whatever game I want to play, or I'll play some sort of a game and I'll chill out and do that kind of stuff. So we all You know,
Yep.
we don't mind being separated from each other for an hour or two because we're literally with each other day in, day out.
That's very similar to me and my husband. That's his setup over there. So I'm over here, he's over there. That's also where he works because he works from home now. So he's usually in here, usually on the computer. And in the evening, he's either streaming or just gaming in general. And I might be lying on the bed reading a book or something. So we are together quite a lot, and you know, but it works. It's a few people have asked like, oh, do you not like get sick of each other now that he's working from home? And I'm like, no, it's great. We can spend more quality time together, and we get to have like spend his lunch breaks together and stuff. So it's really nice.
And we get that too.
That's what people don't understand, because we also get that question quite often.
Yeah.
If you like the person you married, then you won't have a hard time with it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's like I've never understood why people say that to us, and they're like, yeah, don't you get sick of each other? It's like, I married her. Why would I get sick of her? I chose to spend this time with her.
I like him.
Yeah. It's like, why would I not want to spend time with her? I mean, the more time I spend with her, the happier I am. You know, so
Exactly.
we take our breaks and our lunches together at exactly the same time. So, you know, we'll go walking during our breaks, and then we'll go on lunch, and we'll sit in the car and chat. But we're right next to each other as well in the office. So and people are always like, yeah, but don't you get sick of each other?
That. That's what they always
like,
say.
If you couldn't do that, then I don't see your marriage lasting long. I'm sorry, but that's how I see it. Because if you can't spend that kind of time with your spouse, then are you sure you really love them? You know?
Are you going to be able to spend the rest of your life with them?
Yeah.
You know?
That's what being married is.
Exactly, because you know, when you retire and the two of you are sitting, I don't know, on your porch, wherever it may be, busy having wine or whatever, you're going to be doing that a lot.
Yeah.
And if you can't do it now, then you won't be able to do it later.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But that's how we always try and explain it to people, is that, you know, we love each other enough to actually do that kind of stuff, and we don't like being apart, so for us it's fine.
So you said you like the Quarry. Have you played the other games like the Until Dawn and House of Ashes? And
I haven't. I've seen like other people's playthroughs of them, and Until Dawn especially I really enjoyed. I think I might have to play some of those as well. I was asked to recently when one of my friends was like, oh, play it and stream it, and I'm like, maybe. Maybe. Not generally the kind of thing I stream. My streams tend to be a lot more chilled out and laid back, but I may just play it in my own time. But yeah, those sort of things. I played. I tell a lie. I did stream a game sort of like that, but it wasn't really as horror or thriller. It was a game called Erica, and it's real people that's been filmed rather than CGI people, and it's again choosing her fate and what happens, and it had like definitely a horror element to it. But that was really interesting. I just really got absorbed into the story, and it was only 2 hours, so it was just one stream and it was a playthrough done, you know.
Yeah, that's short.
But that was a couple of years ago now, so I haven't played that sort of thing for a while. But yeah, this kind of when I saw this playthrough, it kind of reignited that. Oh, I really want to play that again. So yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah, no. Get where you're coming from. There's a game that you should try as well, is Detroit Become Human. You might actually like that.
Oh yes. Yeah.
It's less horror-like and more just like it's sort of like a sci-fi thriller kind of a game. You might actually enjoy that one.
Yeah. But it's still deciding. The fates. Everyone.
This time it's three androids that you're deciding the fate for. So it's quite interesting to see how that goes. I mean, Look, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of an evil person, so I tend to kill people off.
Yeah, I've seen lots of playthroughs like that where everyone's ended up dead at the end, and it's like, what happened?
You got me when we're playing games, and she might be watching. Like if I'm playing a game and she's watching me play it, and then they ask me to decide on something, and she sees me start grinning because I normally just go.
He's so evil that when we play games together and there's like chickens or squirrels or things, I'll go, oh look, there's a squirrel, dead. Oh look, there's a chicken, dead.
I do. I confess, I do. I do. If you watch some of our 7 Days to Die videos, you'll see she points out that there's a rabbit, and I'm like, she goes, "Ooh, rabbit!" I'm like, "Ooh, food."
But he did it on the weekend when we were playing Elder Scrolls, and there was a squirrel, and I'm like, "Hello, Mr. McPoof," because that's what I call them. And then he died.
I needed bait because I like to fish, so and squirrels make very good bait.
Yeah, I'm the total opposite. I can't even be mean to NPCs in games. I
I'm the
I
same.
feel bad, and like even if I'm playing Animal Crossing, I can't be mean to my villagers. It's ridiculous.
I'm the same.
You know, for me, it's the only place I can be because I'm actually kind of a softie. So I tend to, you know, if I see someone get hurt, I'm like, I'm there. I'm trying to help them. I'm trying to get them sorted out. If I see an animal that is you know, that is hungry or something like that, I'll try and feed. I'm a very big softie. It's just who I am.
In real life,
in
obviously.
real life. But in games, I've got to let my evil out somewhere. So rather it's on a computer generated thing than in reality. So
Absolutely,
that's how I see it.
The way around to be, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm soft in both in real life and in games as well. So
yeah, no, I don't like the whole you know, having to be the way I am sometimes, where I get like all murdery and whatnot in games. But it's better to do it in games, as I've always said. It's better to do it in games than in reality, which is why I don't mind doing the whole evil kill the rabbits. And also it's just funny because it makes her go no. And when she does that, I'm like, more.
Even our friends have started doing that. But Shem, the one friend that streams, he was playing a game. It was a horror game recently, and Heinrich, there was a bunny in the road, and he's like, "Move, bunny, move!" And then he said, because I was watching him stream, he says, "See, kids, I didn't kill the bunny." So I'm getting to them.
I'm also getting to them because they're like, yeah, no, I'm not going to be like Zeph. Not that there's anything wrong with how I am. I'm just strange. That's part. But honestly, yeah, I do. When we play games, I tend to bring out a different character in myself because I'm used to doing that. So
yeah.
As a musician, I have two different personalities when it comes to who I am. It's me, and then it's my stage me. And it's the same thing with games. It's me, and it's my game me. So
I absolutely get that. Yeah, I'm a singer, so I've sung on stage lots of times, and you have to be a different person on stage, because I'm really quite shy and introverted in real life, but when I'm singing,
stage,
that's
not so much.
you know, exactly. It's just about kind of getting in that mindset and becoming that person. So I totally understand that.
Yeah, it's like Kiz's mom hated me when she first met me. She absolutely hated me. Because we met at a gig when I was still playing in bands. We met at a gig, and I was doing a mic check, because you've got to do your mic checks, and the reason why you go 1, 2 is to get the count for the sound engineer, so he knows
but also
where to do it.
Just to put it in a bit more perspective, I'm an only child. My parents were very protective of me, and when
your
we met,
dad loved me.
He did, but when we met, I was 18.
Okay.
And he was 24.
Yeah. So there was an age gap, but you know, we also when we met, it was like click. You know, it was just there. You know, we both knew it. But her mother hated me
because she thought that the way he was on stage was the way he was every day.
Yeah, because I've got a different persona on stage. It's like because of the music that I play and because of the kind of music that I write and the music that I sing, I tend to be that character. So there's a lot of disdain in my music because of I'm not gonna lie, past relationships. I do use that as a holding point, and also past things that have happened to me in my past, and I use that in my music. But also it brings up that demeanor in me, but only when I'm on stage, because as I'm sure you know, as a singer, using your emotion for music actually makes the music more emotional.
Absolutely.
So same thing. Unfortunately, her mother didn't quite understand that it stops there. And then I'm actually a very nice person in reality. her dad meets me, and he's like, we get to talking, and we're gaming, and we're doing everything together. And it's like, her mother didn't understand how her dad just like absolutely loved me the minute he met me. It's just because we had exactly the same, mindset. He's a software developer. I like software development. I'm trying to study that at the moment. He played games. I played games. We gelled a lot with the games that we played. And I talked computers with him, and I understood it. Believe me, her exes did not know computers like I know computers. I don't know computers that well, but I am a PC engineer. Yeah, that helped.
Anyway,
but that's getting way off topic. That we've gone that way. We should have been.
So we're now going to do some random quickfire questions.
Yes, quickfire questions. I like these.
Sci-fi or fantasy?
Sci-fi.
Okay, and sci-fi, Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Trek.
There's a
New Star Trek or old Star Trek?
TNG is my favorite.
Yes, another TNGer. Okay, so in that case, Enterprise D or Enterprise E?
D.
Even better. The E's good. But the
D is good. Yeah.
The D had more firepower. Did you know that?
I did not know that, but my brother would totally know that. And brother's the real Trekkie geek in our family, but I didn't know that.
The E had weapons, and it had powerful weapons. So it had it had more advanced phasers and more advanced. It had the quantum torpedoes instead of the photon torpedoes, but it had less. So
okay.
There was less on board than there were than there were with the D. A lot of people didn't know that. So. Okay.
I'm still gonna ask it. I'm always gonna ask it because the answers are very different. If you were stranded on an island, what would you like to have with you? Board games, video games, or books?
Oh, that's a really difficult one. Probably books. Because as much of a gamer as I am, I love a good book. I love getting lost in a book. And I can build this entire world in my head with a book. So that's what I would choose.
Okay, now books. It's a good thing. Favorite author?
Oh, that's a really difficult one as well.
I know. I hate it, but I know.
I don't know. It's something I've never really thought about because I read all sorts of things and I don't really have one favorite. I mean, I love Margaret Atwood. I love what she's written. I love the dystopian stuff, even if it does mess with your head and. It's
kind of an idea.
Okay, favorite genre of books?
Again, I'm not even sure.
Sure, I can see the thought there. It's like, oh god, I read so much. I don't know.
I know. It's like I have this real soft spot for like young adult stuff. That's probably aimed at my daughters because I've got teenagers. But they're just so easy to read, and I just love to sort of get lost in that kind of world. Like, again, it's all dystopian stuff. Which is probably, I don't know what that says about me, but there we go.
You want the world to burn.
I love the Hunger Games series, and I love the Divergent series. So those are probably two of my favourite series of books. The films were okay, but it's one of those things that I much prefer the books. But
I could honestly say I've seen the Hunger Games, never read the books, and never read Divergent, so I don't know anything about it. I am more of a fantasy person when it comes to that. So when I do it, she knows very well it's Lord of the Rings, it's The Magician, it's Sword of Truth series, or those three novelists actually. So it'll be J.R.R. Tolkien, Raymond E. Feist, and Terry Goodkind. Those are the three novelists that, if I could ever meet J.R.R. Tolkien, it would have been the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
I have met Raymond E. Feist, and he's really quite cool.
Oh, nice.
And I would love to meet Terry Goodkind as well, because he's actually also a great novelist. I actually got hooked on his books as well. But back to the quick fire questions.
Easy question: dogs or cats?
Dogs. For me, I'm a dog person.
I like dogs.
I have a dog.
I
like cats and dogs. I like all animals.
I do. To be fair, I love all animals. I'm an animal lover through and through, and I always have been. I grew up with cat. My parents always had cat. But then when we moved out and sort of more into the countryside, they got a dog, and then that just became, I was a dog person, And then when I got my own house, I got a dog, and I've had a dog ever since. So you know, it's like it's just one of those things that it feels wrong to not have one around. But I also have a load of fish. I've had kept fish since I was younger as well. My husband makes fun of me because I just have I have 2 big aquarium setups and I care a lot about them. No, but they're my fishies. And I also have 3 rats. The rats are amazing.
Oh, nice.
I love rats. They're amazing pets, and the kids love them. They're brilliant with them. So yeah, I just love to have animals in the house. And my dream one day when I retire is to move to a big house and have lots of dogs. Just rescue all the dogs. That is my plan.
That was hers and my plan too at some point.
Yeah.
We know how you feel. Just go and buy a farm up here in Scotland and see if we can just rescue lots of animals.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually want to move up to the Highlands one day because I love it's a part of the world that I've visited quite regularly, and I love it. I just love the Highlands. It's just something about the air and I just feel so at home there and so at peace, and I want to. That's where I want to live one day with lots of dogs. So
that's what she said as well when we moved up here. She felt at home in the UK, but she said when we moved here to Scotland that she's never felt more at home than she has up here in Scotland. She just feels right here.
The best way to describe it is I knew that we were in a different country, but to me it didn't feel like we were. It felt like where I was supposed to be.
Yeah.
That's good.
Even though we're in Glasgow, and we're not really in a city. We're actually in a very small village. So we're like way outside of Glasgow. Well, I mean, 45 minutes is still way outside, but we're outside of Glasgow, far enough outside of Glasgow that there's just farms everywhere.
Anyway.
And it's quiet.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that I like about being.
Yeah, absolutely. The quiet, yeah. I've never been a fan of busy cities. That's not really me.
Yeah,
I much prefer rural, quiet. So my parents live in the countryside, but it's only 15 minutes from here. So we're in a town, so it's not like they're in the middle of nowhere. They have internet. But yeah, it's kind of like a nice happy medium because we're able to be surrounded by fields, but be 10 minutes from a Tesco. So
we're actually very far away from the Tesco from our side. We're closer to Morrison's.
Right.
And we are to a Tesco, so we have to go all the way up to Silverburn to actually get to a decent Tesco. Otherwise, it's the closest one we've got is a Morrison's. But anyway,
this is good too. Not sponsored.
Not sponsored at all, actually.
Horror movies or love sweet R movies?
I don't really do gory horror, so I'm gonna have to say the love kind of movie. Even though I'm more of a comedy type sort of film lover. But yeah, horror. It doesn't really. I mean, I used to watch horror when I was younger. And I don't even know how I managed it because I can't watch stuff like Saw now. It really freaks me out, and I just I think it sets my imagination going, and then that's not a good place to be. So yeah, I don't really do horror as a general rule.
For me, that to me really isn't horror. I've always felt that horror is supposed to be more psychological.
I know what you mean.
I prefer that kind of I watched a movie a long time ago. It was gory. I admit it was gory, but it was called Event Horizon, and there was a lot more psychological mind screwing that actually happened there than anything else, which is what I actually liked about Event Horizon. And if I'm going to play something, I'd play something, or watch something, I'm going to watch something like that. It's the same with games. I'm not going to just play something that is blood, guts, and gore, because that doesn't interest me. I play games like, if I'm going to play a horror game, it's got to be like Prey, or there goes your green screen. She's going to try and walk on it, Angel, and it's screwing with your camera now.
Stop it!
Okay, so Kez's camera has just died. That's only because of the cat. She's screwing around to the green screen and it's not helping.
Never work with children or animals. That's golden. That's rule number 1.
It's literally folded over. Okay. It may not come back because she's literally in it now.
No. My camera has sadly died.
Yeah, because we have to actually buy new ones anyway. We've been struggling with these things for ages, and they're about to be binned. That did not sound good. Oh.
I'll check on her.
Okay, green screen's back up.
But my camera's not working.
Okay, so we're probably going to have to call it because the cameras decided to actually go. But it was so awesome meeting you, though. It was wonderful sitting down and chatting with you. Hopefully, we're going to see you on the stream as well. Hopefully, you're going to jump in and chat with us on the stream.
That would be great. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's been lovely to speak to you.
Absolutely, and excuse me. So before you go, though, where can people find? Well, for example, the Get Well Gamers, and even you, if you want to actually plug your own Twitch as well, you can do so. Where do we find you?
Okay, so we are Get Well Gamers UK, all one word, on Twitch, and it's on Twitter. It's at GWG UK. So that is it's the social media, it's the Twitter and the Instagram. Although Twitter is probably the best place to get in touch. And also you can, if you have any questions or if you're interested in donating, you can visit the website, which is getwellgamers.org.uk. And you can also send us a message or send us an email at hello@getwellgamers.org.uk as well. So yeah, awesome. We'll get back to you as soon as possible. We're doing the business pitch there. But yeah, it is Get Well Gamers is a small team of volunteers. There's only a handful of us. So, you know, we do our best to get back to people as quickly as possible, but it's not always the easiest. So yeah, social media is your best bet, I'd say. But you can drop us an email as well. And all the information on the website. We have a streaming part of the website. So if you are interested in having your own streaming event, you can just let us know through that. So
cool.
So, yeah.
Well, there you go, guys. As easy as that. And also remember, if you want to talk to them about donating anything, when it comes to games or money or anything, you can do the same thing. Just go to their website and they can help you out from there. But anyway, you know, the whole time I've been trying to remember and keep the name. I keep saying Zora in my head.
Xanny.
Xanny, thank you so much for joining us. I do appreciate it. And we'll definitely see you again next week, because the fundraiser is next week. So we'll see you again next week, and you have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. And,
you too.
Yeah, have a good one.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Oh, right, I've got to say bye. The right way. For you guys out there, I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. I don't know where my brain went there. I do apologize.
He missed like a whole sign off. So yeah, just bear with us for a second.
I'm sorry. And that will more than likely end up in any kind of blooper reel that Toast is likely to throw at me. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for watching the video. Remember, if you can hit that, if you want to do any of the donations or anything like that, all you do is you come join us on our stream. You know, do it. But if you want to donate to Get Well Gamers directly, like if you've got a console or anything like that you're wanting to give over or anything like that, you can contact them. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. If you did not enjoy the video, hit the down button and tell us why. But guys, hit the share button, and as always, remember,
Keep it.
Bye.